Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for a learning and growing webinar, Creating Virtual Breaks and Digital Escape Rooms in Any Class. Our presenter today is Professor Joab Corey of University of California, Riverside. My name is Cameron Muntz, and I'm a member of the sales team here at Hawks Learning. We'll have a live Q&A session after the presentation, so please enter any questions into the Q&A as we go. Without further ado, I will now hand it over to our presenter.
Hi, my name is Joab Corey. I've been an associate professor of teaching in economics at the University of California, Riverside for the last 6 years. Before that, I was at Florida State University, teaching there for about 7 years. And then before that, I was working as a graduate student at West Virginia University. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of share my screen to talk about some new teaching innovations that I've come up with in kind of recent years. Mostly as a result of the pandemic, but also kind of as a result of some learning initiatives that we're doing here at the University of California. So I'm going to go ahead and again, just share these slides with you and kind of give you a quick background of some of those initiatives. And then from there, I'm going to kind of show you an in-depth view of my course and what these initiatives have created. So this presentation is about creating virtual breaks and digital escape rooms in any class. So whenever I do these kind of teaching workshops, I always want to make sure that I present something that you can use right away. So at the end of this workshop, you can take it and incorporate it into your class immediately. I also want to make sure that I can present you something that you can use no matter what subject you're teaching. For example, I teach economics, but whether you're teaching math or biology or communications, right? Any subject, you can kind of adopt this example to that particular subject. So with that in mind, here at the University of California, Riverside, we're focusing on two things. One is called healthy pedagogy, where we try to enhance kind of the overall student well-being, not just teach them a particular subject. And so that might involve focusing on their mental health or their physical health, right? Just making sure that they're kind of well-rounded and healthy heading into the learning that they're going to be doing, because we kind of understand that not being healthy or not having a clear mind is something that could disrupt that learning. And then the other thing that we are focusing on is this thing called the community of inquiry, or COI model, that's kind of made famous by Dr. Randy Garrison. And he published this book called E-Learning in the 21st Century, which is a community of inquiry framework for research and practice. And what the community of inquiry is it's about establishing, particularly with regards to online education, but any type of education for that matter, it's about establishing social presence. And social presence just means being perceived as kind of a real person rather than just like a face on a computer screen, right? So again, if you're teaching online in particular, right, you might kind of struggle with the idea that, the anywhere between 50 to 550 people in your class are actually individuals who have their own issues and complications that they're trying to deal with. And so again, it's easy to look at them as just another name in our list of attendees, or again, another name in our grade book, and not really, again, focus on them as a real person. So social presence is, again, making sure that they're perceived as a real person and making sure that they're establishing communication with other people in the class. And then the communication moves on to camaraderie with both the instructor and fellow classmates. And the next thing that we are going to be talking about here at this community of inquiry is teaching presence. And this is, again, just the idea of the teacher themselves kind of making themselves known in this class by providing different methods of exploring content and facilitating discussion. So it's very easy, particularly in an asynchronous online class, to kind of set everything up and then leave students to do it, right? But with regards to teaching presence, it's about kind of being there and walking with them on this journey. And then finally, cognitive presence, and that is students engaging with course content in a 4-phase process. And the 4-phase process includes triggering, exploration, integration, and resolution. So triggering is kind of setting them up with an event that's going to cause them to take a course of action in terms of exploring the content. Exploration is just that, kind of analyzing the problem either as an individual or as members of a group. And then integration is taking what they've learned in your course and kind of adding it to the idea of exploring that content. And then resolution is coming up with a solution, right? So with that in mind, I have created these things called virtual break rooms. And before I get to the virtual break room, I kind of want to show you a little bit of what's going on in my Canvas course site as I attempt to set up the COI model for everybody. So again, I'm going to stop sharing real quick and then start sharing my Canvas course site here with you. So when you log into my Canvas course site, here's kind of what you would see. So here's the home page, right, including announcements I've made there at the top, right, and a little blurb about me and some information about how to reach me. And the parts that I really want to show you, though, is that one thing that I do with my courses to create this kind of community of inquiry is one, I set up a course Discord site. And that course Discord site is basically for students to kind of interact with each other on Discord, which is a medium that they've now become used to. And they can either ask me questions on there, or they can ask themselves more appropriately questions on there, because I don't check the Discord site as much as I check my emails. So I tell them, if you want to email, if you want to get a hold of me, just email me. But if you want to get a hold of each other, the Discord site might be a better way to do it. And that way they can start kind of answering their own questions, right? That said, I do create a different Discord site for every course, even if I'm teaching, say, 2 sections of the same course in the same, say, quarter or semester. I'm still going to break them up by section, because a student might ask a question like, hey, when's our final exam? Which is different for each different sections. And if I have, say, 2 sections of Econ 3 in the same Discord site, then they might get inaccurate information. But the thing that another thing I really want to show you here is that I've created 4 pages here on my Canvas course site, right? And they're pretty easy to create, that again kind of help create this community of inquiry model. One is called student opportunities. And when we go to student opportunities, we're really focusing here on, again, a page that is focused on internships, scholarships, and other opportunities for students at UCR, right? So every time I get an email about volunteer opportunity that's become available, or an internship that's become available, or whenever it's a student group says, hey, can we take a couple minutes of your class time in order to give a quick presentation about what we're trying to do on campus. Always tell them, I can't give you my class time, but if you send me a quick, say, PDF or Word document, then I'll be sure to post it there under student opportunities. And again, students can check it out there, right? I also have a page called student resources. And under student resources, any students that are kind of struggling with any mental health issues, I always post the campus student support services there. So counseling and psychological services, campus health and wellness resources, and then again, just our student support services link. Also post my email and my cell phone number there, so they can contact me if they need anything. Right. In addition to that, I also have technical support. So again, if they have trouble with Canvas or anything related to IT issues, generally speaking, the tech support team can answer those better than I can. And then something that's kind of new that I started doing during the pandemic is I created a page called Inspiration and Positivity. And my Inspiration and Positivity page just includes things like positive videos or news stories or things of that nature, right? So again, if it's something that's kind of a positive message to it, including a link to like Good News Network, right, then I post that as well. And as the quarter goes on, if somebody like starts watching these videos and sends me something that they think is particularly positive or inspirational, then I'll post those there as well, right? So again, these are kind of the some of the pages that I've made to kind of help facilitate that student learning and create that community of inquiry network. So with that in mind, again, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and kind of get back to our slides and talk a little bit about these virtual break rooms, which is kind of the real star of this particular webinar. So as I share my screen here, I want to kind of point out that this virtual break room has 4 components to it. One is the physical exercise break, which is a short 10-minute or less exercise challenge, where students are actually getting up out of their seats and moving and getting the blood flowing a little bit. There is a relaxation break, which is a short guided meditation or breathing exercise, just kind of designed to get them to calm down and take a few minutes from, again, maybe being stressed out about the course, and, slow things down just a little bit before moving on to the next part of the material. And then I have this digital escape room, which we'll talk about in more detail, where students can work in groups and use clues in the course material to unlock their virtual doors in order to escape the room. And then a social break, which is a discussion board where students reflect on the material from the module or the exercise challenge or the digital escape room, again, kind of creating that social presence within the class. Right, so I'm going to go ahead again, take you back to our Canvas course site before we go into the virtual escape room, just to show you what these digital break rooms are going to look like. So again, I'm going to kind of share my Canvas course site with you again and go into modules. So for every module, I have it broken down into a set of steps. Right. So if you go into the overview page, you're going to kind of see what this module is going to look like in terms of the course videos that I've created for them to watch and the slides that accompany those videos. Here at UC Riverside, each student also attends a discussion session that is related to the course material for each week. Right. So I have the discussion session video, and again, the assignments that are related to that video there are posted as well. I also have practice questions and course book questions. I've also created a weekly review session video. So a review session for each module that we cover, and then the module quiz. So as you can see, there's a lot of learning. There's a lot of materials that they have to interact with here, right? But it's this virtual break room that I want to talk about now, because this is kind of, again, any place that students can go to find these breaks as they are maybe getting overwhelmed with all the steps through the materials that they have to complete. So again, going back to our modules page, I'm just going to click right into that virtual break room. So here's what it looks like. So if you go into the virtual break room, again, you're going to see this exercise challenge. I'll give you a quick example of what that exercise challenge looks like. This one is the baby shark ab challenge, right? I'm going to go ahead and play that video for you all so that you can kind of see what that looks like, or make sure it works. I'm going to kind of make sure I share the screen on that video. So again, I'm going to play it. If you're familiar with the song Baby Shark, if you have kids, I'm sure you do. I've got 4 kids, so I'm really familiar with it. It's going to kind of be an exercise challenge that is related to that song. Let's go ahead and take a quick look. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing real quick just to kind of oh, let's see, we got a comment in the chat. Oh, you're not streaming your audio. Oh, sorry guys. Sorry if you missed out on the audio on that. But can everybody hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right, yeah. So with that in mind, so basically it just takes that song Baby Shark, and for each iteration of the different shark, there's a different core or ab exercise that goes along with it. With that in mind, I will tell you that a lot of students have told me that it's a lot of fun. They like to do it, especially with their younger siblings, and they have a good time with it. But if you were able to see the video, hopefully you're able to see that it's just about a minute and a half long. So it just gets students up out of their chairs. They're looking at the screen for about a minute and a half, and they engage in this kind of exercise challenge. So I got permission from the content creator to upload that video and make it something that students can do when they just need a break from my course. Right, going back into our Canvas course site here, and pull that back up for you. Right, the next part of the virtual break room is the relaxation break. And this is a 5-minute guided meditation for relaxation that I'm not going to kind of have us sit through right now. But again, it's just a way for students to kind of maybe slow down, take some deep breaths, and relax before they are kind of interacting with any more of the material, right? So again, when it comes down to the relaxation break, it's a just a way for, again, students kind of maybe take care of a little bit of their mental health as well. And then I have what's called the intellectual break, which is the virtual escape room. And I'm going to go ahead and take us into that virtual escape room so you can see what it looks like. Now, by the end of this particular course, or this particular webinar, I'll kind of give you some ideas of how to create your own virtual escape room. And then from there, you can kind of decide if that's something you want to incorporate. And then I'll have posted a link in the chat there, which kind of is a course in how to create your virtual escape room that you can, if you want to subscribe to it, it's like a one-time fee of $19. It's not mine. I actually bought it myself when I created virtual escape rooms, but it has a lot of kind of pre-formatted forms and stuff that you can use. That just makes the process a lot easier, right? So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing again and bring up this virtual escape room for you. And as I do that, I'm going to go ahead and post it here in the link so that everyone can see it, or post the link here in the chat so that everyone can kind of get into that room if they want to. So I'm going to share my screen again. Here's what my virtual escape room looks like, right? Basically, it is a series of clues embedded into this Google document slide or Google slide here, where they can start opening up these clues and actually start completing some of these challenges here to get out of the room. So all they have to do first is click on this lock. They click on the lock, it is going to bring up a Google form. All right, can everybody see that Google form okay?
Yes, we can.
Cool. All right. So the first thing you need when you're creating a virtual escape room is a good story. So here's my good story for chapter 1. And I've created one of these for each of the 9 chapters that I teach in my class. The story goes, although you've been accidentally locked in your economic professor's classroom, in order to get out, you must click around the room to uncover clues that unlock the doors, and make sure you read each clue carefully as you attempt to solve the riddles, and that will allow you to escape. Feel free to work in groups or try it on your own. This is just for fun and will not be graded, but you can time yourself using a stopwatch on your phone, and your group can post the time in the discussion board for bragging rights. Good luck and have fun. And then I tell them what kind of clues there are, as well as examples of the formatting for each clue. Right, so for example, there's an 8-letter word lock. Make sure that you enter all lower cases, no spaces. So example, the word that you might enter here would be like computer, again, all lowercase letters and no spaces in between. There is a 3-digit number lock that, again, has a decimal in it. So no spaces or commas. Again, just making sure that they're clear on the formatting. There is a 5-digit number lock, right? So again, this is just any 5 numbers in any order, right? And then a 4-letter 4-letter letter lock, right? Where again, they just use either P or N, right? All capital letters, no spaces, in order to solve out that particular lock. And then again, another 4-digit number lock where they can use these numbers in any order, right? So now they know what kind of locks are available here, right? Then they can go ahead and start checking out some clues. Right, so again, they're just going to start poking around this room. As they hover their cursor over stuff, they're going to see that there's things that they can click on, like this bulletin board here. They click on the bulletin board, then the first clue comes up. Hopefully everybody can see that. But one of the first definitions I cover in my economics class is, what is economics? Right, and if they've been paying attention at all to the course material, they should be able to answer this question right away by filling in the blank. That economics, aside from being really cool, is a study of how people make choices under. Now, even if they have not been paying attention to the material, they might still be able to figure it out, because you'll notice that there are some bolded letters here, right? If you just take a look at these bolded letters, SCARCITY, they spell out the word scarcity, and that is the completion of that definition. Economics is the study of how people make choices under scarcity. Right, so again, they should be able to, with that knowledge, go through and start figuring out which lock to answer, right? Scarcity being an 8-letter word, right? They could answer that here in this lock, right? So again, they put in the word scarcity, and boom, right? They have their first lock unlocked. But let's say that they don't get it right. Let's say that they make a mistake and actually enter in that word computer as they go to the next lock. It's going to tell them no, right? Try again, think about why we have to study economics. It's kind of a clue I give them if they do get it wrong. And then again, if they get it right, oops, or if they spell it wrong, again, that same message will appear. All right, but again, as soon as they get it right, then that error message goes away. All right. So again, this is something that is pretty easy to set up using Google Documents. But if you don't want to take the time to set up all these locks and things like that, they actually have these forms pre-formatted for you, and you can just kind of change the description and change what the right answer is, right? And then again, it'll have the error message automatically pop up if they get it wrong. And you can kind of add in or edit what you want to have for your error message, right? They have all that set up in this, again, link I'm going to give you. And for like a one-time fee of $19, right, you have all that stuff for the rest of your life should you want to use it. Right. But anyway, that's kind of how these digital escape rooms work, right? And again, you can kind of poke around these rooms and maybe try to figure out some stuff for yourself. So again, here is another example of a clue. It says calculate the marginal cost of those fries. You're driving through the Burger King drive-through line. According to the menu, a Whopper costs $4, an order of fries costs $3, and a large drink costs $2. When you're planning on getting a Whopper and a drink, you notice that an extra value meal includes the Whopper, the drink, and the order of fries, all for $7.50. You now have to decide on whether or not you will go with your original plan, just the Whopper or drink, or whether you should get that extra value meal. What would the marginal cost of getting those fries that come with the extra value meal be, right? So again, if you add up all these costs together, 4, 3, and 2, that'd be $9 if you got them separately, right? But if you get the extra value meal, right, of $7.50, right, then again, you're going to be able to get those fries for $1.50, right, or a little bit cheaper than you would if you got just the Whopper and the Coke for say $6, right? So the Whopper and drink by itself is $6, but if you get the extra value meal, right, that order of fries is included for an extra $1.50. So as we say in economics, the marginal cost of that order is $1.50. Once again, you can come in here. This seems to be our 3-digit number lock with a decimal. Put in 150, and that's how you get the right answer. Again, if they were to put in something that was incorrect, it would give them an error message along with a description. So that is it for kind of me talking about the virtual escape room. Now, one thing I kind of wanted to give you all a chance to do is kind of click around the room on your own and maybe try to play with it and see if you can solve some of the clues yourself. I give you just a couple minutes to do that. Again, the link there is in the description. Hopefully everybody there is going to be able to access that room. And again, just for a couple minutes, see if you can play with it. And if you have any questions in the meantime, let me know, and I'll kind of be happy to answer them. And then I'll kind of show you what happens if they're able to get all the locks unlocked, right? The kind of digital badge that they receive as a result. All right, so you're going to take a couple minutes to play with it, and again, I'll be here to answer any questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that yeah, I can see if there's any comments coming in through the chat. I got a timer set for about 2 minutes. We'll give you that long to kind of play with it, and then yeah, just let me know if you have any questions. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start to come back together. Hopefully you're able to kind of play around and just kind of see what kind of clues were up there. I also have some other stuff up there, like a little list of things that we talked about in class. So that, again, students don't necessarily have to go back and check that out on their own. They can, again, just get everything they need within the actual virtual escape room. So I'm going to share my screen with you again here and kind of keep the party going on this virtual or digital escape room. All right, so again, we're clicking on the lock here. Again, the other clues that we need to solve, we got them out here in advance. So this next one was 53271. And then the next one is NPPN, all caps. And then finally, 4823. All right, so go ahead and you get all the clues correct and you click next. It's going to tell you that congratulations, you escaped. All right, I hope you had fun and learned some concepts from chapter 1. Don't forget to post your time on the discussion board for bragging rights and some friendly competition, right? So again, they kind of get this digital badge or digital form every time that they escape the room. And again, this is something that you would get access to should you buy that $19 free, not free, but that $19 course on how to create digital escape rooms. Again, I did it, and it's pretty useful to have kind of all this stuff pre-made for you. Really cuts down a lot on the time it takes to create this type of stuff, right? So again, I'm going to share my screen and talk a little bit about something else that is in this virtual break room, and that is the social break, which is the again, way I create social presence using that community of inquiry model framework, right? So the social break is what's called the Good Vibes discussion board, right? It just says, please feel free to use this discussion board to interact with your fellow classmates. You're not required to make or respond to a post, because I've found over time the students aren't happy about having to respond to people's posts. They think it's kind of busy work, but they will respond if they find something interesting. But it says you are free to post any comments or questions you might have about anything in Module 1, including the lecture videos or anything found in this Module 1 virtual break room. For example, you can post your performance from the exercise break, your time from completing the escape room, or request hints if you're stuck, right? Or any personal stories or examples that you have that relate to the material. Make sure your posts are polite and respectful. Only good vibes are allowed. I will be checking in from time to time to make sure that all posts are courteous and there's no instance of cyberbullying. But otherwise, we will not be grading these posts as part of your course grade. So just have fun and get to know your classmates. And I click on that link, it's going to take them right into that first discussion board there. And again, they can start posting things. So this is a class that hasn't started yet, which is why there's no post yet, right? But this class will be starting for us. We're on the quarter system here in mid-September. So again, that's kind of what these virtual break rooms are looking like. Right now, the great thing is that, again, it doesn't matter what you teach, right? These exercise break, the relaxation break, the social break, that's not related to the material at all. The virtual escape room, right? Again, I've created these based on my economics material, but if you were teaching biology, chemistry, or math, then you can create your own break rooms that are kind of related to or surrounding your material as well, right? So again, it's all kind of something that you can do no matter what subject your teaching is. One thing I forgot to mention on the exercise break is for each exercise break, I have a challenge called Ask the Prof, where I talk about what I was able to do during this exercise break. So if you want to try to beat me during this exercise break, then this is say the number of rounds I was able to do that baby shark ab challenge. Or one of the virtual break rooms has like a push-up challenge where I was able to get like 40. So I was like, hey, if you can get more than 40, then great, you've passed the prof, right? You beat me on this particular challenge. And students kind of got really behind that as well. They kind of enjoyed comparing themselves to me and passing me up. Some of them you looked at as accomplishment. I'm not sure why, given them almost 40 and they're all college students, they should be able to beat me in everything. But they're always like to rub it in when they do. Right, is maybe the nicest way to say it. So again, that's kind of what these virtual break rooms look like. Now, before I open it up to Q&A, I do kind of want to kind of talk about some feedback I've gotten from students on it, as well as feedback from other teachers that I've received on us when I've given this presentation to other teachers across UC's campus. Right, so I posted a link in the chat. I posted a link to that Baby Shark Ab Challenge, just in case you weren't able to hear the audio there. But I've also posted a link to, again, this is where you go to get that digital escape room forms. It includes 40 free digital escape rooms that you can kind of look at to see how they're created, plus a step-by-step guide for creating your own. And then for me, the most valuable part is, again, pre-formatted Google Docs that allow you to make yours pretty seamlessly, so that you don't have to kind of create all these locks yourself. All right, again, they have all the formatted locks. You just decide which one you want to use, and you can kind of edit them as you see fit. Right, and again, that's all just for like a $119 fee. Right, we get like I think it's like it's not a lot of money, but it's like $250 for teaching materials every year. Right, so for $19, I was able to use that money and got lifetime access to all these pre-formatted materials here. Right. So again, feel free to kind of check that out as you see fit. So here are some student reactions to the virtual break room. I have those typed out. Before I get to that, tell you a few teacher reactions. So teachers like, all this looks really awesome, but how long did it take you to create this? Well, the answer is it took a bit to create those digital escape rooms. I would say it took me on average about 3 to 4 hours for each one of those rooms for me to make them. And a lot of that time was really spent on finding images and embedding them into those Google Docs so that they kind of look like they belong there, so they're not so easy to pick out. So people actually have to go through and kind of find out where to click. That probably took the most time. Creating the clues and all that stuff wasn't that difficult, but again, I've been kind of teaching this class for 14 years, so I kind of already had an idea of what the clues might look like. If you're kind of teaching something for the first time, it might take you a little bit longer to do that, right? As far as finding the exercise challenges and the relaxation videos, that's just a quick search on YouTube and a quick message to the content creator asking for permission. That is something that didn't take long at all. Right. And then setting up the discussion board through Canvas or whatever your learning management system is, right? That's not something that really took that long at all. Right. So again, plan for, maybe 4, even 5 hours for the digital escape room if you plan on using those. But the rest of the virtual break room you can create in 30 minutes or less. How long it takes you to kind of find those videos. And then the other question I got from teachers, or the other comment I got, and it's a valid one, is that if you're teaching an online class, students are already kind of burned out from looking at a screen all day. This kind of optional virtual break room that you set aside, right? That just involves them looking at screens even more. Outside that exercise challenge where they might be kind of getting up and moving a little bit, right? The rest of it, they're still kind of looking at screens. So that might even contribute more to the burnout. And that's a valid concern. That's not one that students seem to share for the most part. And I'll go over some of those student reactions now. Now, it is important to note that so far I've made these virtual break rooms completely optional. So students never have to go into them if they don't want to, but it is something that is available for them should they, again, need that break. So how do students feel about these virtual break rooms based on their responses to my midterm teacher evaluations? So even if you decide never to use these virtual break rooms in your class, something that I hope you can get out of this webinar is to always give them a midterm teacher evaluation. Because every year I give these evaluations that the university wants me to give at the end of the term, and I get their feedback back after the term is over, which means that they give me a bunch of suggestions about how I can teach better that I can't use for them because their class is already over. I can only use them for the next group of students coming in. And for me, it makes sense to use their suggestions to teach their class better. So ever since I started teaching, I started giving them these midterm teacher evaluations that aren't official. The university doesn't see them, just I see them, and asking questions like, what's your favorite part of class so far? What's your least favorite part of class so far? And what are some of your recommendations for improving that class? And students really like the fact that I ask for their feedback, especially if I implement some of their feedback throughout the course, which I always they always come up with some good suggestions that I may kind of adopt as for the second half of the course. All right. But as part of these anonymous midterm teacher evaluations, I added this question right to this year's evaluation. It says, for this class, I've added a virtual break room to each module that contains the exercise challenge, a relaxation break, a virtual escape room that corresponds to the information in each module, and a discussion board. Have you explored the optional module break rooms yet? And if so, what was your favorite part? And if not, why haven't you explored them yet? And then I put, do you like having a virtual break available, or do you feel it just clutters up the module in an already busy class? So I try to make the question pretty open, but also kind of maybe address some of those concerns that teachers might have had with regards to it just kind of contributing to student burnout. Right. So I got some good, some bad, and some responses to this particular question. I'll go ahead and give you some of the kind of selected responses from each of the categories. So here's some of the good responses that students have given me. They said that I have explored the virtual break rooms and I really like the exercise break. It is a welcome addition to the module. They are always placed at the end of the module, making it hard for anyone to confuse them with any assignments that we have for the week. So as you saw, I have kind of all the required assignments and then have this optional break room at the end. Again, students can choose to completely ignore if they want. One person shouted out that the relaxation breaks, escape rooms, and exercise challenges are, especially when I feel overwhelmed. Another student posted, having a virtual break is very important because learning for hours without breaks can be draining. It makes it harder to focus over time. And then I have students that say, I've looked and I thought this was really nice and it should be all professors implement into online learning platforms. It kind of gives students a safe space to relax and take a breather. I do want to point out that I offer these both when I'm teaching online and when I'm teaching in my face-to-face sections. And so this isn't something that I only do for online classes, but I do think it kind of helps more in the online class, but again, create that kind of social presence and that community of inquiry more so than in that face-to-face class where that stuff gets created more organically. Here's some specific call outs from students here. Right. One person said, I usually just watch the relaxation break videos. I've not explored the other activities because I mostly find interest in those relaxation videos. Another student says, I have, and I enjoyed the relaxation breaks. I like having the option available for when I need to take a break. Somebody said that they've used the exercise challenge. Since I'm an athlete here, I want to try it out, and it was pretty fun. Yes, I like having a virtual break, and it's helpful to just not think about schoolwork. Somebody said that they've checked out the Try Not to Laugh exercise challenge video and found it to be very entertaining. At the same time, I have to do some exercises along the video to take a break from sitting in front of the computer. So that exercise challenge is basically like they watch a scene where they try not to laugh. They get to choose whichever they thought was funnier, and then whichever one they choose, right? There is a exercise associated with it. Someone says I have done escape room. It was fun. They're study games, and I enjoy them so. And then finally, I think it helps because sometimes all of us need a little boost. So it'd be fun to just have that discussion board where people can talk about whatever they want. So whether it was the relaxation break, the exercise challenge, the digital escape discussion board, right, any one of those four, at least one student has kind of highlighted one of those to talk about how they've found it kind of helpful throughout the course. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the maybe more negative responses, which weren't really all that negative, but again, kind of maybe highlighted that these maybe hurt a little bit more than they helped. Right. Someone put, I have not explored the module. I found that I feel timid to explore it. This virtual break room is new to me, and I've never had any module like this. It's just the fact that it's new, and anything new maybe causes somebody to be a little bit more uncomfortable. Caused again students to just not even want to think about exploring it because it was optional. They knew they didn't have to. It's like, I don't want to have to deal with that right now. Somebody actually posted, I feel this gives me a little more anxiety because the way that I approach the modules. If the module block looks longer, I feel a little more overwhelmed. And if it's shorter, I feel like the module is more doable. So I know that this work isn't any more or less, right? Again, because it's optional. But in terms of mental preparation and the placebo effect, seeing a shorter module block always makes me happy, right? So again, this is a student is like, this just adds another potential step onto that module. And just seeing that module block being a little bit longer gives me a little more anxiety. So in that way, again, maybe negative response. They kind of put a smiley face at the end, I guess indicating that maybe it's not that big of a deal, but again, something that certainly affects the way they look at the module. Right. And somebody else put something along the lines like, it just feels like it clutters up the module in an already busy class, kind of taking that question premise and adopting it to their response. And somebody said, I tried the first break room from the first module and feel that's an interesting and unique material to add into the class. Although it does clutter up the module a bit, I think it is a nice addition to the class. Perhaps instead of including the break room at the end of each module, make a separate section, so like a separate module for the break rooms. And I thought about doing that, just having a separate module for all the break rooms and just put them in there. The only thing about that is I do think the students might be less likely to explore it in that way. But I'm teaching 2 sections of this class next quarter. So I think I might put all the modules or all the break rooms in one separate module for one of the classes, and then put them at the end of each module for the other, and kind of see if there's a different in usage or different in terms of how students see it. All right, so I might kind of explore it that way here in the future. Let's take a look at some of the responses, which weren't really good or bad, right? Just kind of people like, it's all right that they're there. I just don't really use them. So it says, I love the idea of having a virtual break room set up. However, I haven't used it yet because I haven't had much downtime. I do love having it available. Another student says, I have not used it yet because I was unsure of what it was. I really like that we have the option though, and it's just a fun addition to the class. Just having this kind of thing included makes the class feel more inviting. And somebody else says, I have not checked it out yet. I feel like I definitely should check it out though. I feel like just having it available is good. And then I haven't used the break rooms because I haven't felt the need to, but I think it's a really cool option to include, and it makes me feel like the professor cares about his students. Right. Oh, sorry. I want to say one last thing. So each one of these responses kind of is getting around the idea that even though we haven't used them, in other words, it hasn't really added or detracted from the class at all, right? Just having it there, again, shows that the instructor cares. It shows that I have a break I can go into, makes the class feel more inviting. So students who haven't even used it yet, right, feel more positive about the class just because these virtual breaks are there, right? So with that in mind, I do think it does help to have them, even if a student doesn't look at them, just because it does demonstrate that you care, which is one of the big important components for me as an instructor. I want my students to know that I do care about their learning, right? And not only that, but again, they just like having the option or having it available should they decide they want to use it sometime in the future. So the students who have used it and liked it, there's students who have tried it out and again, maybe don't feel that's as useful. And there are students who haven't tried it out, even in not trying it out, find some value in the fact that it exists. All right. So that's kind of it for me. That's something that you can now do in your classes if you decide that you want to kind of create these virtual breaks. Again, these digital escapes are pretty easy to implement. You just have to create a cool story, right? Set up some Google Docs, Google Slides with some images embedded into them, make them linkable, and then kind of include those clues as links that you can go to by clicking on those images that are embedded into that slide. And again, kind of use those forms to create those locks. And from there, have students escape if they want, right? In addition to those relaxation breaks and exercise challenges, that digital escape room can be a fun way for students to interact with the material. And the discussion board is just a place for them to talk all about it. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Just let me know if you have any questions about anything that we talked about today, and I'll kind of be happy to answer those questions for you. Hopefully you found this useful. Again, if you decide not to use these digital escape rooms and you have not been using a midterm teacher evaluation already, hopefully you might want to check out those. Again, if you start using those in your class, you might also find that to be pretty worthwhile. Again, I've included a link to not only my digital escape room, but that YouTube video, as well as the site called Ditch That Textbook, which has, again, this kind of active learning exercise of these digital escape rooms. It's got a link to, again, that $19 course that you can pay for that teaches you all about how to do them in a nice, easy step-by-step format. All right, so I'll open up the questions now. Just let me know if you have any or if you need anything.
Thank you so much for your time today, Professor Corey. While everyone is taking a moment to type in their questions into that Q&A below, I will also be sending out a few links for you guys if you are interested or anyone you know is interested in presenting for our Learning and Growing webinar series moving forward. Please submit your proposals to the Learning and Growing website, and I'm linking those into the chat now.
Yeah, and any feedback, by the way, is appreciated. So positive or negative, if you have any feedback for me about this webinar or how I can improve this stuff or stuff that you're doing in your own class, I love a good discussion about that kind of stuff, right?
All right, the first person just made a more so a comment. They just said, thank you so much for your great ideas, and just want to comment their thoughts.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. Again, feel free to incorporate any of this stuff into your own classes. Most of the stuff that I have that I've already incorporated in my classes are stuff that I've borrowed from people in presentations just like this. Right. Yeah, if you have any ideas, again, of how to make it better, stuff that you do in your classes that might kind of follow along the same format, then I'm also happy to hear those as well. That's one of my favorite parts about these kinds of webinars, is you kind of learn what other people are doing that you can also use in your class.
All right, and it looks like that is all the questions we had today. If you guys are still typing them in, I will leave this room open for just a few more minutes. Otherwise, once again, thank you so much, Professor Corey, for coming out and speaking with us. And for all of you attending, thank you so much for giving us some time on your Friday. I hope you all have such a safe holiday weekend. And beyond that, our marketing team will be sending you out a link to this, a recorded session via email shortly following this. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to stay and type them in. Otherwise, thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you all for your attention. Really appreciate you taking up the time to be here.
All right, and it looks like that is all the time we have allotted today for this webinar. Once again, just keep an eye out for an email from our marketing team with a recorded session. Otherwise, thank you so much. And once again, have a great holiday weekend.